Greetings commanders and welcome back to another Warpath video. My name is Eagle and in this video we're gonna give you some tips and tricks on how to upgrade your officers. As we all know, upgrading officers in Warpath can take a lot of time, and by the time you have awakened those officers, you would probably spend so many statues that you can't focus on other officers as well. But in this video, we're going to actually give you some statistical tips and tricks that will help you get the best out of your officers throughout your journey to awakening them. This way, you will get better results in combat while also maintaining the officer's strengths of multiple officers so that you can actually deploy multiple units on the field and get the best out of each. Of course, if you're a whale or you're an in-game player, then you probably have many of these officers already maxed out. But it would actually help you if you're trying to max out a new officer that just dropped. As we know, there's a lot of these are coming up in the next updates, and it will help you out also change maybe your strategy on how to upgrade officers and which skills to focus on first, and this video for sure will deliver. So without further ado, let's get right into it. So the first tip that I would like to give about this video is the tactical skill. Each officer has a tactical skill, and usually the tactical skill is one of the most, if not the most important skill on each officer. That's why the tactical skill, as a kind of a rule, or let's say the majority of the officers, you need to focus on this one, the first skill of the whole thing. There is a debate between upgrading this skill all the way to the max and then going for the rest of the skills, like for instance what I did right over here, or you could actually also upgrade the skills on like certain levels and then move on from there on. In my opinion, some of these skills are actually very strong that you would need to actually focus on these skills first. And it highly depends also on the unit type itself. So let me explain what I mean by that. For instance, the howitzers are actually very important units, and when you're doing base to base, which are usually what the howitzers are used for, then you're definitely going to be actually activating your active skill or your tactical skill. Then that actually elevates the importance of that tactical skill. But for instance, when you have, for example, other units, for example like super heavies, then if you're trying to focus on Sergeant Spanner, for instance, upgrading your super heavies or the healing coefficient of your super heavies is also super important. And the last level over here gives you a lot of benefits, but it also takes a lot of statues. So instead, you would have to do some calculation between the other officer skills and this one. So it's always situational in these scenarios. So for instance, if this officer has a better officer skill where you can actually spend those statues on, then definitely go for those instead of going for the last level of the tactical skill. Let me explain exactly what I mean by that. So let's take for instance Sergeant Spanner over here. The last level, in order to upgrade this guy to level 5 over here of the tactical skill, that will require 100 statues of Spanner, which means that I could actually, instead of going from level 4 to level 5, I could go level 3 on each one of these skills and then have even 10 extra statues just by spending it here. Why is that? With basically the first one, in order to upgrade from level 1 to level 2, you would need 10 statues, and from level 2 to level 3, you would need 20. So that's 30 per skill. 30 multiplied by 3, that's 90. So basically, I can get all these benefits upgraded to level 3 just by choosing to go for these instead of going for the level 5 over here. And right now, you ask yourself this question: is it gonna be worth the actual upgrade? So for instance, over here, what are we gonna get? We're gonna get 6% damage buff, and over here, we're gonna get 8% durability buff, and right now, we're gonna get 0.2% basically field recovery, which is also very big. But instead over here, we're getting only 300 basically healing coefficient in addition to 3% damage resist buff. So the change, when you compare these two together, then the actual benefit of upgrading all other skills to level 3 than actually going for this one to level 4 is much higher than going all the way to level 5 on this one. So what you would do in this scenario is actually upgrade these skills all the way to level 3 and then move to level 4 and then move to level 5 on this specific skill. Now prioritizing these skills is also important because you won't have 100 statues right off the bat. You would probably building those up over a period of time. So knowing which skill to go for first to get the maximum value out of it is very important. So for instance, when it comes to Spanner, usually he is used on tanks that have high sustainability. So increasing the durability is extremely important. So for instance, this is one of these skills that I would personally go for first and we will be definitely covering a lot of these in the officer related videos. So we're going to be doing some kind of a officer highlight video where we explain exactly how you could go with each officer, proving that with combat testing, and telling you exactly which kind of skills you need to go for first and prioritize over others. So if you're not subscribed yet, then maybe consider subscribing so you can get all these videos and updates about them as well. My second tip for you in this video would be choosing which officers to awaken. Let me explain what I mean by that. So basically, some of these officers are actually, when you awaken them, you're getting some significant amount of skills and a lot of benefit. However, awakening an officer requires a lot of statues, and to be exact, you need 720 statues to awaken one officer. So that means it takes a lot of time to awaken them. So always ask yourself, which officers should I go for and awaken, and which ones should I actually just put on a specific set of levels of skills and then move on to the next officer. So for instance, over here, Antonia Shevchenko gives me one range of map grade. This one range of map grade will be massive because when I joined this officer with another officer which was launched lately, then it will give me massive amounts of benefits, and also it will help me out a lot versus when I'm doing base to base, or when I'm doing like multiple things throughout the map. And that's why I chose to actually awaken this officer and go all the way through with her skills, let alone that her skills are actually excellent, and when you upgrade them more, she's going to be even dealing more damage. So that's why this is one of the officers that I've chosen to awaken and go all the way through. Of course, by time and when you're reaching the end game, you would definitely need to awaken most of your officers in order to get the best out of them. However, throughout your journey, you would definitely need to select firstly the officers that you need to focus on and then move on to the next officers accordingly. Following up on my second tip, I have another one for you guys. So when it comes to premium officers like Guardian of the Truth, or the newest officers that are available in the VIP bistro, so these ones over here require some investment, and be it like either actual money in order to get them, like for example Guardian of Truth, or a hell lot of time and resources in order to get them, like the other new officers, then you have to be extremely selective with their skills. And you want to know exactly how much these skills actually affect the performance of these officers. So for instance, when it comes to Guardian of Truth, do you actually need to awaken this officer in order to get the best potential out of them? Or will you actually get a very similar outcome in battle if you have this officer at, for instance, 5333? Which I mean like the levels of their skills. This question is actually a very important question, and it requires a lot of combat testing and a lot of resources in order to actually get the answer of this question, because no one can actually calculate this unless you're actually in a really like a real battle scenario and you're actually battling and seeing the results for each one of these skills and how much does it contribute to the overall performance of the officer on the battlefield. So that is why we have actually been doing that on a test server, and we're going to show it to you guys in very soon in specific officer videos. These videos are going to be focused on each officer, and the way that they're going to work out is that we're going to be upgrading their skills one by one and then telling you exactly how much combat efficient that these officers are versus how much combat efficient when they are awakened. Of course, when they are awakened, they're going to be better, but how much is that actually? Because if it's not that much, then awakening them would be almost useless because you're not gaining that much of a performance boost in battle. So this will tell you a great answer of which level you need each officer to be in order to get the maximum amount of benefit out of them. And this way, we're going to show it to you guys exactly in those types of videos. So that was almost about it for the officer upgrading videos. We give you some tips and tricks about their upgrading skills. And if you have some other tips and tricks that you would like to also share with the community, please feel free to leave that in the comment section below. Thank you so much for watching, and we will definitely see you on the next video. Bye bye.